most interesting one is when I tattooed my mother-in-law's ass.
So it's TGT Reapa, and I'm here at Tattoo Mafia Nerang, getting the tattoo by yours truly.
There you go.
And by far, he's one of the best I've been tattooed by. It's real quick, real smooth, but we're here, just a few more questions. You know how we do on the Wall podcast. So let's just start with the basic one, man. What got you into tattooing?
Well, I've been an artist ever since I was a kid. My mum was doing canvases and pencil drawings and stuff like that, so it was one of those things where, like, what do I actually want to do?
Yeah.
And I figured, hey, if I can do something I'm passionate about, something I enjoy,
Yeah.
what better? Because I've had all those shitty jobs. I've done the trolley collecting. I was a pizza delivery guy and stuff like that. But man, tattooing's the best job I've ever had.
Yeah. And coming in there, obviously you get like all sorts of different people, right? Like the tattooing.
Every time, man.
What's the craziest like kind of tattoo story? Could be someone fainting, or you know, I don't know.
Okay, so I told you this one before, but the probably the most interesting one is when I tattooed my mother-in-law's ass. That was a bonding experience. So my wife was sitting in the room, her mum's ass was hanging out. We were doing a little crab on the butt with a set of dreadlocks and a brand above it that said "Property of Ken" for her husband. So that was probably one of the most memorable. I've tattooed CEOs. I tattooed the CEO of Steggles. I've tattooed some people who've had less than what's the word? I've had a few years jail time.
Yeah.
I've had race car drivers. I've tattooed judges, lawyers, cops. I've had a very wide plethora of people, and I found some very, very interesting people.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Like, when it comes to designing stuff, do you find that like difficult? I know, like, I've been with you a couple of times now, and I can see you pre-plan everything in your head before you even say it. You know what I mean? And it's amazing how you just come up with that. But when you come to designing the stuff, do you find it easy, or do you find it a bit tricky, like actually drawing it up?
Okay, so back in the day, pretty much what I would do is I would just sit down in my room, have the music blaring, and then just whatever came into my head, I'd go for it.
Yeah.
But since I've been doing this job, I find it hard to just sit down and make something from nothing. I generally have to have someone give me the seed of an idea. Like when you asked me about the angel and all that sort of stuff, it was just when the idea came, it came in a bit of a torrent.
Yeah.
So I just started rattling off things, picturing it in my head. Yeah, right. And then it gets to the point where I have a full image, and then it's just a matter of making that image a reality. So I'll probably spend like 8 or 9 hours over my weekend just designing the tattoos for the week.
Yeah, right.
And every now and then I'll have one where I'll spend even more time on it just because I've got such a clear idea that I want to get down on paper. But honestly, it's more fun than difficult. It's taking the imagination and making it a reality.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. Like, even like, because we've done this in 2 sections, and we've done the outline first, as some of you may have seen, and it just looked so unfinished. Like, it just like you're like wondering what's going on with this tattoo. You know what I mean? But now we're getting it done, and like as you guys are going to see when it's finished, it's like amazing, man. Like,
I wish I could show people what's in my head.
Yeah.
Because it would make things so much easier, but at least you had a full image to see what it was going to look like.
Yeah, 100%. And like, this is a big question for me personally. I know what you should and shouldn't do before and after a tattoo, man.
All right,
that's a big one.
This is a very big one, and I've had a lot of people tell me the weird things that they've done after tattoos because their friends told them to, and anyway. So, what you should do after a tattoo is, for the first 3 days, all you're going to use is antibacterial foaming soap.
Yep.
So you just use that to clean it. It helps take off the excess plasma and other bits of bacteria and gunk that forms on top.
Yeah.
On the 3rd day, you can start applying little amounts of cream. Now, I'm going to say this because everybody who uses it, stop. Bepanthen is horrible for tattoos. It's one of the worst things you can possibly use because Bepanthen is designed to take out impurities in the skin. It's designed for cuts, burns, scrapes, stuff like that. It's not good for tattoos. It takes out the top layer, makes it look faded. just use vitamin E, or we do have a beeswax one that I recommend, and it will heal within 10 to 14 days. And honestly, best thing I've ever used for my tattoos.
Yeah. Well, I've only just started using that beeswax one since I started with him, and yeah, it is good. Yeah. 100%.
Well, you can see how much clearer your tattoos are.
100%. Yeah.
No gym for about 2 weeks. I had one guy, he got a chest tattoo, big full Japanese Hanya style thing, and then about 3 or 4 days later he went and did bench presses at the gym.
Stretched it out.
Literally ripped his chest open because the scab was so thick and he wasn't looking after it.
That's crazy. He goes to the gym the next day.
Yeah, no, don't do that. No, man. It's like, actually, I had one guy who went surfing the next day because his friend told him that salt water was good for tattoos without realizing that the ocean is one of the most dirty places in the fucking world. And I've had people who've had severe infections, blood toxicity, poisoning. There was a guy actually in New South Wales who died after getting an infection in a fresh tattoo because he went swimming in the ocean.
Damn.
Yeah. Pretty much, it's very easy to look after a tattoo, but it's also very easy to fuck up your tattoo.
Yeah.
Like, I could do the best tattoo in the world, but if you don't look after it, it's going to look like shit.
Yeah, 100%. And what should you do before a tattoo?
Before a tattoo, good night's sleep, no alcohol if you can avoid it.
Yeah.
Big breakfast, even if it's a tiny little tattoo. Like, I've had a girl, like I told you before, she passed out, almost vomited, just vomiting bile because she got a tattoo this big, but she had nothing in her system.
Yeah, right. It's funny that, eh?
Your body needs the fuel because it needs to be able to draw from it.
And sugar's a big one, yeah?
Sugar, yeah. So glucose, fructose. Whenever we get someone who's getting a little bit lightheaded, a little bit drowsy, give them a couple of Mentos. Just pump a little bit of sugar into them. Apart from that, beforehand, just big one is a lot of people come in with numbing cream on.
Yeah.
And I don't dislike numbing cream, but the best way to use it is to actually do the outline first, allow the skin to be opened, and then put a little bit on. Because your body builds up a natural tolerance to pain.
Yeah.
But when you come in with numbing cream on first, what's going to happen is the body has no ability to compensate for what's happening.
Yeah.
So when the numbing cream wears off, you feel everything at once. So you'll be able to.
Well, that's it, eh? Because it's all a shock. Yeah.
Yeah, because like all the pain happens at the same time once the numbing's off. But once you've put the outline in, your body's built up that bit of a tolerance. It knows what to expect. Yeah. And then the numbing cream is a little bit of a treat to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, right there. And then last one, bro. Like, what's something that you've obviously got a lot of experience and everything like that. What's one thing that you like? Thankful or grateful for, like doing your tattooing and stuff like
just
that.
The people that get to work,
as a person that has made you happy in a certain way. What is it?
I'd say that the reason why I enjoy my job so much is because I do get to meet interesting people like yourself.
Yeah.
And just when people appreciate something you do for them, it's like the discussion we were having before when you're on stage and you have people reciting your lyrics to you.
Yeah.
The recognition and the fact that you've touched someone enough that they can actually have part of you that they are responding with. It's like when I see someone who has a tattoo that I did on them 7 or 8 years ago and they're still so happy with it, or I'll have someone come up to me and say, hey, a friend of mine got a tattoo from you, I'd love to book in. It's like just having the appreciation of others to the point where they are willing to give you a part of their body.
Yeah, true.
To leave your mark. It's huge, man. It's probably one of the most humbling things I can say. Is like being an artist, it not only allows me to express myself with my passion, but it also allows me to meet awesome people.
Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, that's awesome.
Have you ever had someone come to you with a tattoo that has a meaning or so meaningful that you can't get it out of your mind?
Dude, I've had tattoos that have made me cry. Probably one of my most memorable experiences with one that was so emotional was this young girl, and she'd been a self-harmer for about 10 years. She started cutting at 8. Yeah. She had so many scars up her arm, and she wanted to change it because she didn't want to be the same person anymore. So for her 18th birthday, she came in and said, look, I have these, can you help me? And I said, yeah, of course I can, darling, absolutely. And she didn't want to see a design. She literally just let me do the design for her. She just said, make it something pretty. So I did a whole bunch of wildflowers, specifically ones that grow in harsh environments, so like desert flowers, stuff like that. And she sat for about 3.5 hours, didn't look at the tattoo once. Got up once we were done, took a look at the mirror. I saw a single tear run down her face. She ran back over to me, gave me a giant hug, and said, "Thank you for making me beautiful again."
Yeah, right.
It was one of those memorable moments where you're just like, "Yeah, I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah,
This is what I'm supposed to do." I actually have a lot of people as well who have like mental health issues, who's severe depression, and tattooing is a way for them to get that endorphin rush without hurting themselves.
Yeah.
It's actually one of those things where you don't realize it until you see the mark it leaves on someone. Like they're able to overcome a trauma, overcome a past horrible experience, and the tattoo sort of lets them be reborn.
Yeah, right.
It's a beautiful thing, man. Like a lot of people think tattoos are just for criminals and drug addicts and shit like that, but it's one of the oldest professions in the world, and because of how far we've come with the technology, with the design aspects, it's so much more diverse than that now, and I'm so happy to see that people are starting to recognize that, and
it's getting better.
More people are becoming involved in it, like young girls that you would never see in a tattoo shop in like 10, 15 years ago are feeling confident enough to come in and get just something little, but then they'll graduate to something this fucking big.
Wait, I know I said last one before, but I could ask this one. What's a tattoo that you hate doing?
If I never have to see another infinity symbol again, it'll be too soon. Like, I get it. The infinity, whatever. But my problem is a lot of people get those infinities that are broken, or they'll have like a word in it which makes the lines not connect.
Something going,
and an infinity that doesn't connect is not an infinity. It's just a squiggly line. Yeah, it's honestly like you were saying before, you get to ask the same questions with security all the time.
Yeah.
I get the same requests all the time, and I just have to sort of grin and bear it. If they want to get it, fine, but I'll put in my 2 cents and be like, hey, I've seen this one done a bunch of times. Can we do something a little different? More often than not, they'll listen, but sometimes they just want what they want.
That's it, eh? You want to say anything else, like just promote your shop a little bit or anything like that?
I honestly don't know, man. Like, the shop's been here about 12, 13 years. My wife and I have been here for about 6. Had fantastic clients. I've been able to meet some awesome people. I'm just happy doing what I'm doing, man. I'm loving life. Meeting new people all the time, doing cool, awesome, random things. I'm never bored, I'll put it that way. And I like to think I'm a bit of a jack of all trades. The only thing I won't tattoo is I won't tattoo family portraits. That's probably the only thing I won't touch. Just because they are a little bit more personal and they need to be done by someone who can master it and specifically does that only. But more often than not, everything else I'm pretty confident with.
All right, well, there you go, guys. So there you go. If you want to come through, Tattoo Mafia in Nerang, come through, come see the man himself, and get yourself a tattoo. If you've been tattooed before, you'll know it's good, you'll feel it. If you haven't had a tattoo before, probably a good start. He's nice and soft.
I tattoo a lot of virgins. I get a lot of people coming in who are just like, oh, it's going to hurt. But once I start, it's like, really, that's it?
He's good.